Yeah, we're still at it. We're still talking about the strategies to build Zimbabwe. And I've been telling you that the Lord has been showing me that for Zimbabwe to grow, we need to become pro-Western. We need to become Washington. Do no BS of Russia, no BS of Chinese. Wara. Look easy, look nonsense. We're going Washington. Holy is God. That is the judgment of God. That is what the Lord told me. And I'm telling you. All right. So all this propaganda of American colonialism it's a lie. Okay, it's a lie because those that want to steal your futures succeed in an environment where there's chaos, in an environment where there's no order. Okay, they don't want to be in a rules-based system where there is order. And in that system where there is order, then you can unlock the global capital markets to come into your country. You see, look at Botswana, it's doing well. Zambia is improving now. Zimbabwe as well can come into that picture, and we even improve more. We get rid of corruption. You see, this is how we are going to get Zimbabwe ahead. Whether it is this government that is going to do this thing, or if it doesn't, then the next government ought to do this thing. All right. First of all, you have to get rid of corruption in government, okay, national government, in district levels, councils, parastatals, in the private sector, and then deal with corruption in the police. God has been showing me about the police. God said to me, son, if you deal with the police, 90% of the policemen in Zimbabwe are going to hate you, because the endemic corruption in the police sector is crippling the Zimbabwean society, therefore crippling the economy. Holy is the Lord. So deal with corruption in the financial sector. Have robust anti-corruption agencies that are empowered, and empowered court system, hallelujah, that is robust and strong, right? That will need a leader that actually has got interest in doing this, a leader who's got the people's interest at heart. But if a leader is interested in stealing together with his friends, he will not have no incentive of mopping out corruption in a country. Mopping out corruption isn't difficult, really. It's just a matter of political will. But if the politician is not willing, because he values his political power or proximity to power, and therefore proximity to the access to resources for self-accumulation, selfish accumulation, they will not have the necessary push factor to implement these reforms. So therefore, we need a man of God. We need somebody who's got a heart of God. We need someone who loves God, who loves his people. Holy is the Lord. Okay. And not men of, I'm not saying that men of God are holy, 100%, but at least there is some certain level of accountability that we need to adhere to. All right. So when you deal with corruption, and then you make sure that there is good service delivery in the country, empowering those that give service, and employing the right people, doing the right jobs, health systems that work, okay, city council systems, intergovernmental systems, right? Then improve the infrastructure in the country, building roads, building the electricity grid, power for the nation, hallelujah, and water, building dams. God has been talking a lot about dams, building dams, and therefore, and then you go after you do this kind of infrastructure, which is schools as well, schools and hospitals. Okay, so you need to have a health sector intact. You need to have your education sector system intact and robust and good. All right, you need to have your road system well serviced, a rail system, road system, and freight system, airports, stuff like that. Then you look into the economy. The economy itself, the basic level is agriculture, because that is the basic way the majority of our people rely on. Make sure that the agriculture, whether it's self-sustained or commercial farming, it is top-notch, and it is underpinned by world-class systems that bring about deliverables that actually can be that are tangible to the ordinary human being. If you do that, you are reducing food poverty in the nation. And then you look at production, local manufacturing of food and groceries. This whole thing of Zimbabwe buying food and groceries from neighboring countries is what also contributes to our negative foreign currency receipts. A nation must grow its own domestic industries, especially in agro-processing. To understand, we don't need to import sugar, to import milk, to import tea bags or flour or stuff like that. Those things must be produced in the country. Right. So the government, a good government, must facilitate for the growth of that local industry. That's what this government must be doing. If this government doesn't do it, that's what the next government should be focused on doing. You deliberately go to empower your own industrialists. You identify industries that you want to grow. Hallelujah. And you identify even the industrialists that will grow, and you make sure that they succeed. You come up with systems and support mechanisms that will help them to succeed. The reason why they succeed, you need them to succeed because they are strategic key industrial nodes that if they succeed, because you do this thing in stages. You have particular industries that you develop. When they succeed, you know that they pour out to other industries. Okay, so when they are robust, you go on to the next level of industries. So you see that in this time around, we're talking about a government that is more focused on economic development. At the beginning, I spoke about a government that is focused on eradicating corruption. Okay, the first thing that you do, you remove the corruption and have governmental systems that function. All right, and then you focus on infrastructure, making sure that the infrastructure functions, because the infrastructure is the bedrock of any economic growth. There will not be foreign investment, if the telecommunications network doesn't work in the country, if the power provision is erratic. You understand? So you need to get telecommunications, power systems, water, education, and health in check. All right. So that's another stage, and therefore from there, you see, then your governmental goals move towards industrial development. Okay, we have dealt with corruption. Okay, we still have the systems in place, and we've dealt with infrastructure. Still have systems in place that make sure that there's continuity there. And then now the government focus goes towards industrial development. All right, as they're saying, targeting specific industries, and in which industries you target the industries according to the human development goals. First, you begin to understand your people. Who are my people? What is their condition? In other ways, you cannot promote an industry just because in Japan they have it. You need to look at the at the local nuances to see if they fit in. As I told you, that the first industry that you look at is agriculture. Why? Because the Zimbabwean society, majority in the rural areas, have been agricultural, have been farmers, subsistence farmers for a very long time. So you focus on that because that is where they are. And then you go to providing proper education, because education is what will provide the input to current industries and future industries, to understand. So that is why we need this e-learning system. It must work that everybody must have an e-learning platform and be able to self-develop across multiple disciplines that are needed by industry and the self. Right. And then you go for these manufacturing industries. Why? Because our people who buy food, who produce food in the in agriculture, we need value addition, and you also, for the sake of foreign currency receipts, so you want to focus on that food production in the country for that purpose. Hallelujah. Then you begin to look at your people. How are they populated? Which cities are they? Then you do have a specific economic development plans for specific places, specific peoples, targeting people. Whether we're saying we're targeting the people who stay in this region, we target them with this because that is what they can specialize in. And in that other region, you find yourself you're doing something else which is different from that other region, depending on the factors in that region. Hallelujah. So, and then target a low hanging fruit like mining industry. Mining and agriculture, they're close to each other because mining industry is an extractive industry. It's very easy. So if you've got a role-based system in a country, deal with corruption, you can easily ramp up mining investments from global companies, global oil companies like BP, Shell, ConocoPhillips. There's a lot of American, Australian, British companies that are reputable and they will pay taxes, and they will stay and do what is right